episode of Aussie Tech Security. You might know me or remember me from such shows as Aussie Tech Heads, and I think I was on the Aussie Mac Zone at some stage, but the boys have taken that over, and now I'm here trying to we'll start something else up. And today we are joined by Roger. Hi, Roger.
Hi, how are you, Glenn?
Yeah, good, thanks. Now, I just wanted to introduce Roger. This episode, number 1, is going to be a little bit of an overview of what Roger does and also of the tech security in general. And then we hope to produce this podcast every month or so, or if there's anything urgent, maybe fit inside that month time frame. All right, so just a quick bit about Roger. He is from RNI Consulting. .com.au. You can reach him on Twitter at SME Security, or if you want Facebook, he's got a page called Digital Security. The link to the Facebook page is quite, it's not as easy as you might hope it to be, but I'll link it into the Aussie Tech Head Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Roger's, or the digital security, is facebook.com/101100DS. Now, I'm going to ask Roger why that in a second, but it almost sounds binary. It almost sounds like
it is binary.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost like it's meant to be. But before we do that, we are brought to you by Digital Security and ATH Web Hosting. So jump on those two guys' websites or the Facebook page there for Digital Security and check out what they do. You'll learn a bit about what happens with those guys over the course of the podcast, no doubt. Okay, then, Roger, let's... why the Facebook page first? Why the 1100, whatever it is?
Well, actually, it's because you said it. It's a binary reference, mainly because when we went to look for a Facebook URL, all of the good ones are already taken. So we thought, well, let's just go off on a bit of a tangent, and we thought, well, binary and DS for digital security, the end of it. So that's one of the reasons why it came up.
Oh, excellent. That makes sense now. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. Now, tell us a bit about what do you do and what does rniconsulting.com.au, what do you guys get up to through the day?
We are a managed service provider. We literally look after small, medium business, not-for-profit organisations from the user all the way up to the internet. And we have 2 roles in our business. We make sure the technology that they employ is working properly and they don't have any problems. But also, as a spin-off from that, we're looking at the security and making sure that the business is not going to be compromised at that level. And that's literally how we work. Right.
And are you local to where you are, or can you operate globally, nationally?
We operate in the ACT in Canberra. We also go all the way up to Sydney. We've got a number of clients in Sydney. Most of it is done over the internet. Right. So we don't have. Because the only time that things really go pear-shaped is when the internet goes down and we can't get into a system or a person's PC. Yep. But we also are unique in that we have one of our technicians on site at least once a week or once a fortnight as per the service level agreement. So you actually get to see us, which is something that a lot of MSPs, we've taken over clients who haven't seen their IT support in 2 years. Right. They've talked to them on the phone and they've spoken to them over via email, but they've never seen a technician on site. Right. And we handle all of the little problems that come up that are, I suppose, they're not essential, but they're really, really frustrating. Yes. And those frustrating problems usually fester and get bigger and bigger and bigger. We nip it in the bud by having someone on site to be able to look at it and go, oh yeah, well I can fix that, click, 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 done.
Done, yes.
Yeah, and it then becomes no problem at all.
Right. You haven't had a call from Hillary Clinton?
No.
What?
But I think she needs someone to look after her, yes.
Yes. So what are your thoughts about, say, a government official, a rather important one, having their own email server tucked in their cupboard? If you can believe that's to be the truth.
To tell you the truth, a lot of, as long as it was patched and it was up to date and everything else, I think anonymity had a lot to do with it. Nobody would have known that was her email address apart from the people who were actually sending her emails. Right. So in that level, it was probably a good idea. As a government official, probably very bad idea.
Yes. Yes, I see. All right. So, now as a end home user of the internet, like as far as I'm aware, I need to worry about security. So, I don't get hacked with viruses and all this sort of stuff. Is there much like real bad stuff going on out in the interwebs? Like is there key logging still happening? And which is the term I haven't heard for a while. But is there still bad stuff like that happening?
Yes, there is. A lot of the stuff is disguised. One of the stats that we've come across regularly is there's 40,000 bits of new malware developed every day.
Jeez.
It's a lot of things that are happening. They've got malware development kits, just like Microsoft has got a development kit, and you can literally plug in one version of malware at one end and have a different version come out at the other end. And that new version is not detectable unless you've got a really high-end antivirus system looking at it. And even then, some of them are pretty close to impossible to see anyway.
Yeah. So, to that end, what sort of antivirus / malware scanners would you implement on your own system?
Well, to tell you the truth, we've come across we work with a company called Fortigate, who are a security manufacturer who does access points and routers and this level of protection. They have got a free product called FortiClient, and FortiClient was initially designed as a VPN connection to one of their firewalls. But because they saw the need that they needed to protect everybody's PC at the same level as someone internal to the network, so they've created one of the better antivirus products available.
Okay.
It is very good. It is very easy to use. It doesn't stop people doing what they want to do. But it is very, very protective of making sure malware doesn't get in. And that's, as I said, it's free, and we're quite happy to promote that. We actually put it on everything that comes out of our office, as we know that if it's going into a business, there might be Semantic or there might be Kaspersky there, but we know that when it leaves our system, it is 99.9% protected.
Right. So I know in my day-to-day job, I go out and help people with their computers, and sometimes you go out and there's no antivirus software on there.
Yep.
A lot of the times I find out people might have the AVGs or the Vasts or Kasperskys or whatever, but that's not enough. And then I come along with my little malware bites, and it seems to pick up a lot more, say, malware than the antiviruses would. Is there a difference between virus and malware, and why doesn't, say, the AVGs of the world pick up the malware? Why do you need two?
Really good question. In places like where people are using AVG, we're a supplier of AVG antivirus, but we supply the bought version of it. And there is a difference between the free version and the bought version. The free version is just designed to get people in so that they'll go, oh, I need an antivirus, let's put that on, and off it goes. But when it comes to actual protection, you really need something that is actually going to stop you going to websites that have malicious code in the website themselves, which is where some of the infections come from. And you also need something that will actually stop people from sending you viruses or malware or anything, a malicious code of any sort. Even right down to being able to look at how the systems are infected in the first place, and that's really what we try to do. As I said previous to our conversation, we're in the process of educating people in Rotary and Lions and everything else, because the fastest growing community using computers and using the internet are the 50s to 75-year-olds.
Yes.
Because everybody else is already used to it. These are people who are now going, oh, sugar, I've got to go. I've got to learn what the kids are doing on Facebook, and that's really what we're trying to educate people about.
Yeah.
But the antivirus, there are still good ones out there, but there are also some very bad ones that really aren't worth putting on at all.
So you would suggest that this, as you were saying before, the Forti client that
Yep.
would say encapsulate. Say if you've got AVG and malware bytes, you could say toss them away and maybe just use the Forti client.
Yes,
Even
definitely.
the free version.
Even the free version.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. And what? Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry?
I was just going to say what. This is not an ad for Forti client.
No, nothing like that. But as I said, we're a totally agnostic IT company. We deal with FortiClient and Palo Alto and Cisco and all of those. But this is something that we've found, even though it's made by one of our suppliers, we have found it to be rock solid in protecting people's computers.
Yeah, I just was going to ask, like, what do you get for a paid version of it?
There isn't a paid version.
Oh, right.
Actually, when you buy a router from them, you are allowed to connect 10 of these to a system without paying for licenses from that. So this is, as I said, it's designed to protect external PCs coming to their systems. So they know that behind the firewall in the business, it's secure, but in front of the business, we've got people who are not as secure as the business itself.
Right.
So we all know how people are with kids playing games and looking for cracks on the internet and looking for hacks on games and all this sort of stuff. And it's how the cyber criminal thinks, because they know that little Johnny is going to want to get the hack for tour of duty. And that's how they infect your computer with those sort of things as well. So.
Yeah, and I think you see a lot of things come through the torrents as well, like they're massive pool of malware, aren't they?
Yeah, they're horrible actually. But again, torrents are something that you really have to be very wary of, because not only can you download stuff from other people, but people can actually download and store stuff on your computer as well.
Yes.
And we've come across a number of computers that have a torrent client on there, and we've got kiddie porn and we've got pornography and we've got all of that sort of stuff. So it's very, very, it's something you've got to be really wary of. And as I said, when it comes to cybercrime, these people know what they're doing, and it's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah. Now, what are they actually after? Like, okay, everyone tells me there's big money in spam and hacks and all this sort of stuff and malware. Apart from obtaining your bank account details and sucking money out of your bank, how are they making their money, or what drives them?
Okay. Most you've got three versions of criminal on cyber criminal. You've got the script kiddies, who are anywhere between probably 12 and 25, and they are the people who can download an application like Kali, which is a Linux-based operating system. You can then install it in a virtual environment on your PC, and you can then actually plug it into the internet, and off you go, and you can scan the internet. These people are probably 90% of the bad guys who are out there. The next versions are the hacktivists. They're actually out to do something. Whether they've been wronged by something, or a government or a company or whatever, they are out to deface websites or steal information about them. And the third component, which is probably about 0.1% of the cybercrime arena, are the true hackers who actually know what they're doing. And these are the people who are developing malware. They're developing the systems that they are quite happy to get out to these people who are the script kiddies.
Right.
What happens is a script kiddie will download it from a true hacker. The true hacker has access to that system, and any information that is gathered by the script kiddies goes into their system. They then compile it. It's actually one of the biggest uses of big data in the world at the moment, is because they can correlate your name, your phone number, your address, your financial details, your personal details, and then come up with, okay, we can target this person because we've got a lot of information on them.
Yeah, right. So when they target, what do? They try and log on to internet banking or something?
Their first thing is the first attack usually comes through email. Email via a phishing attack or a spear phishing attack. Now, a phishing attack is just literally an email with a bit of bait in it, something that you can click on, and it will then either download or install something on your system. Spear phishing is really, really a focused attack on an individual. They know who you are. They know what you want. they know what you've been searching for on the internet because of the breadcrumbs we leave around. They will then design a specific email for you, which has a really high proportion or capability of you actually clicking on the link. And malware works in two different ways. One is there's the initial infestation, which is usually something like maybe a keylogger or a piece of code that'll then talk to another website. It's only after you walk away from the computer that actual code goes into action, and it'll then download other components that it needs.
Oh, jeez.
So, as I
scary.
said, cyber criminals are very, very clever in what they do. Even right down to getting infected by, if you've got an Android phone, for instance, and you've downloaded an Android app not from the Google App Store. If you've downloaded it from a website, then it's Android's designed to run things in a what it calls a sandpit, which is really an area on the phone that is totally isolated from everything else. But the criminals have actually written code that says if you go into the sandpit, don't do anything. So it waits 24 hours, moves from the sandpit into the main operating system, and then it activates. Nice. And that's how clever these guys are.
Yes, yeah. How would you say how clever would you rank these anonymous? Are they like the pinnacle of the?
They're probably the pinnacle of the pinnacle. Most of them, anonymous works in a very fluid way, I suppose. If someone has done something wrong to them, then they will actually use the internet in ways that a normal business does. They run campaigns to get people to download their hacking tools. They will then run DDoS attacks on whoever they're targeting. And while the DDoS attacks is going on, because you'll actually have a countdown of, we're going to attack Coke, it's going to happen on the 15th of November, and it's going to be at 2 o'clock. Yeah. And what happens is all of these DDoS people target Coke at that exact time.
Yes.
While that's happening, Anonymous is coming in through the back door and doing other things to the system. And that's one of the reasons why they're so dangerous. And you can actually see on the internet if these things are going to happen. You can actually have Google alerts about your products and your services. And your name and the name of major people in the business, because you can see that reference coming through if it's going through YouTube or it's going through Facebook and that type of thing. And it makes it a lot easier to be able to go, we're going to get attacked, we need to up our security.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that the anonymous, they come across, to me, they come across as somewhat the good guys?
Yes and no. I think the last attack Anonymous was really involved in was the Asian Spring. And that was a good thing. And there's been a couple of other things that they've been focused on that people are also interested in. So it's really a borderline. They're not really criminals, but they're not really the good guys. So it's right in the middle of what they're trying to do.
And do you think that they're just a group of people, like say, that have got good jobs, like high-end computer scientists or something? This is their night job or something, being anonymous.
Yeah. Actually, there's a series on Netflix called Mr. Robot, who's about an ethical hacker who has actually hacked sites in the evening.
Yes.
And it is actually based on a number of experiences from the FBI, because they do notice that there are people who are clever enough to find holes in software and then tell everybody or tell the people who develop the software that they've got a hole in it. But then they also do other things because that's what the internet has allowed them to do.
Yes. All right. And I think we also just wanted to touch on, just quickly, I've got another note here. Do we need to protect the 4G connection somehow? Any response to that?
Yeah,
I suppose yes.
4G is relatively secure, apart from some of the things that have come out about the actual system itself. Being able to monitor and record recordings and telephone calls and everything else, but it's still an internet connection.
That's right.
And if you've got a decent firewall or a decent antivirus, then you won't have a problem. And even things like Android phones and tablets and iPhones, you can get 40 clients who will fit on all of these as well. So it does it's a secure package across the board.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Now, ransomware. Now, if you if you've been unlucky to have, if you know what we're talking about, you might have been unlucky enough to have had some and succumb to it. But what is ransomware?
Okay,
Roger?
ransomware is you'll usually get an email from the ATO or the post office saying you have a parcel or you have money coming to you from the ATO, and both of those will have a link that will actually then go to a website and download malware.
Yes.
The ransomware is designed so that the moment you actually download it and run it, it actually starts encrypting everything on your PC. So all of your documents, all of your photos, all of your videos, all of your music, all encrypted, and it's very hard to get back. There's two ways you can do it. One is you can roll it back to a previous backup. Hopefully you've got one.
Yep.
Because a lot of people don't have backups of their phone or don't have backups of their laptops. Or you can pay the ransom. And although it sounds counterintuitive, they have been very honest when it comes to paying the ransom.
Right.
If you pay the ransom, they will send you a code. You can then actually access your information and off you go.
That's nice.
Yeah. The fact that you got it is irrelevant.
Yeah.
One of the things that we going back to what I teach at or present at Rotary is we have 7 components that we like people to look at. One is you need decent passwords and unique passwords. One, you've got to have a firewall. You've got to have antivirus. You've got to have a backup of some sort. You've got to patch all your systems. The last 2 are things that we threw in. One is you've got to be paranoid. Everybody is after you.
Yes.
And even if you go through your email, you will see that out of the 100 emails that you've got in the last whatever, only 2 of them have come from people you know or people you're interested in. The rest of it is, I want something. So you just got to be very, very paranoid about, if I'm going to click on that link, should I click on the link?
Yes.
And that's just that thought process makes you a lot more secure.
Yeah.
The other one is use common sense. We've all heard about the Nigerian princes wanting money. Well, that's common sense because you know that you're not going to get anything for nothing.
Yeah.
And anytime you go to a website that turns around and goes, yes, you can have something for free and all we want is your email address, that's fine. But if you go to a website that says, I want your email address, I want your date of birth, I want your phone number, I want your anything along those lines, a large amount of information, then that's the best time is to go, I'm going to use common sense here and get the hell out of there.
Yes, yeah. And you could also maybe, because I've seen some shopping carts and stuff, they ask you for all this information, or maybe, and you look up the top, you're looking for the security bar in the Internet Explorer, and it's not there, and you think, well, do I really want to send all these details unencrypted over the internet, even if it is to a shop that you think that might be legit?
Yeah, and on top of it, one of the biggest scams that came out about 2 or 3 years ago was the fact that you could buy Microsoft software. This is well before Office 365 came into the play, and you could buy it for, like, the software was going for $600 and you could buy it for $100. And we've had a number of people who have been caught because they've gone, well, I'm then legal because I'm using a illegal copy, only to find out, A, they didn't get it, 2, they had money taken out of their credit card, and 3, they never got that back unless they went through a lot of hassle to do it. So
yeah, I had a fraud on my credit card recently, and the bank thankfully was just really up on it. They rang me and said, "Oh, we've just had a thing go through from this place. We know that it's probably fraud. Have you done anything?" I went, "No." And so I don't know if they got their money back, but they reimbursed me, so it was fine. But I think the ransomware, just getting back to that, is you'll find, look, Australia Post is the one that I've seen the most, especially for people that have clicked on it, because, hey, who doesn't like getting parcels?
Yeah, well, that's right.
So,
and they've actually worded it in such a way, if you don't pick it up within the next 24 hours, we're going to start charging you. So, again, coming down to common sense, Australia Post doesn't charge you if you leave something there. It'll wait there for 10 days and then they'll send it back. So that's one of the things you've got to think about. And the other one is you've also got to think about how did they get your email address? Yes. Australia Post. Now, if you were receiving a parcel from XYZ, then XYZ will send you an email saying your post is now at the post office.
Yes, yes.
Okay, whereas Australia Post won't send it because they haven't got your email address.
Yes, that's
okay, and
true.
Again, comes down to common sense.
Yeah, I know. Also, in the email, if you're say savvy enough, you could hover over the link which they give you, and you'll find that it'll be something like ozpost.exe.pdf or something like that. And it looks like it's a PDF. And that's what people think, I'll open that. That's fine. But it's a .exe.pdf. That's disguised, and you open it and bad things happen. So, with the ransomware, they'll give you 24 hours to pay up $500.
Yep.
If you don't in 24 hours, then it might be $1,000 after that. So they're sort of putting you under the pressure.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why we, for a business, we use a product called ShadowProtect, which actually does 15-minute incrementals of all the data that's moved on a system.
Right.
Which means that if someone opens up a file in X at 12 o'clock, we can actually roll it back to 11 o'clock, and we don't have to worry about it.
Yes.
Same with most people. If you're doing a 24-hour regular backup, then if fair enough, if you've been working all day and you've done something and now clicked on the email at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, yes, you've lost all that information, but at least you can take it back to the previous night.
That's right.
And that's again, is it worth saying, well, I can take it back to the previous night, or am I going to pay the $500 or $5,000 or whatever amount of money?
Yeah. I think the solution that a couple of my regular clients, we implemented something like the crash plan. Then every time a file changes, that gets uploaded, and then they unfortunately got this crypto locker, and encrypted everything. They had a network, and so this particular computer that received the email, it infected, and any other computer on that network that it had access to, it went out and fed and encrypted everything on those other computers. It doesn't encrypt the actual Windows file. It's just your data files.
That's right.
Just your JPEGs, your PDFs, .x's, XLSX or whatever.
Everything. Everything that's really important to you or your business or type of thing.
Yeah, because I think you mentioned the shadow copies. I think you must have a different, a third-party one, but I think the crypto locker disables the Windows shadow copies.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, or deletes them or something, because I've gone through the pain of looking for the shadow copies, and they're not there.
No, it actually removes them all, because they're actually a point on the file itself. They're not actually a point in the system. Yeah, and that's something you've got to be very aware of.
Yeah. So I think what would your best advice be? Just back up.
As I said, we have three things. Back it up, even if it's a regular backup and you do it offsite to a USB drive or whatever. The other one is be paranoid. If you get an email from someone you don't trust or you think you should be trusting, then just take that extra second to think about whether you should click on the link. And the other one is use common sense. As I said, how did post office get my email address? And that thought process is usually just enough to protect you before you go, oh, I've got to click on that link.
Yes.
And that's also how you protect yourself as well.
Now, you might not like this next comment, but, sometimes when I get little dodgy links through the email, I go, oh, this looks dodgy, but it could be real. I'll just grab out my iPhone and open it in that. Because I know it won't work in that if it is dodgy.
Well, the other thing is if you're using Outlook, you can actually take it from your inbox and put it into your spam folder. And then because you can open it in your spam folder and nothing will run from that spam folder.
Right. Okay. That's a good tip.
Because the spam folder is designed that way that no executable system will actually run from it.
Right.
Oh, so you can actually do that and on top of that, because you've done that, you can actually then go, well, that's spam and we don't have to worry about it now.
Yeah, right. Oh, good stuff. What a great tip.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that might bring us to the end.
Great.
of episode number 1, Aussie Tech Security. Now, I think we leave you with, you can contact me, Glenn at aussietechheads.com.au. You can contact Roger if you want to send him an email. Is that all right, Roger?
Yeah,
Emails?
yeah, email's fine, yep.
Roger.smith at rniconsulting.com.au. And you've come up with a mantra, which I think we should end each show with.
Yes, our mantra is cybersecurity is my problem, because if everybody thinks along those lines, then we start securing the internet.
Yes, yeah, and no more little Windows 8 boxes in cupboards.
No.
Windows 98, sorry.
98 boxes in cupboards, yes.
Cupboards, that's right. All right, so thanks for coming in, Roger. That's been a great pleasure to talk to you on the first episode, and we hope to see you again in the next episode, which hopefully will be at this stage monthly.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Roger, and we'll see everyone next time. Cheers.
Thanks, Glenn.